Hey everybody, it's Becky. How are you today? It is about 11:40 in the evening, well, night. So again, I'm up way too late, but I wanted to stop in and visit with you guys for a little bit, see how everybody's doing. Looks like Granny is coming right along with her butterfly that I had sent her and DP Crazy Lady. Of course, you guys know DP Crazy Lady finished the butterfly and is on a little hiatus at this time. Not sure if she's gonna come back and do more videos at a later date. As of right now, she says no, but we'll wait and see. You know, we're all entitled to taking a break or changing our mind altogether either way. So I am still working on Frosty Forest Friend by Donna Gill Singer. I don't know why her name's so hard to pronounce. It's a 50 centimeter by 67 centimeter or 19.7 inches by 26.4 inches. It is a square drill and it is from Diamond Art Club. I don't know when the last time I did a full introduction on my painting was, so there you go. As far as tools, I am using this wonderful Bella Art Day Nicole tray that I was gifted by DP Crazy Lady, and I absolutely love this tray. The only thing that I have any issue with is when I'm using red drills in a red tray. That during that time I do have to switch out and do a different color tray. I go back to using a white one or whatever I've got handy. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this painting. Most of the drills have been really nice. I have had, you know, a good bit of trash. Nothing like completely outrageously excessive like you might see on some of the budget paintings. But yeah, I am absolutely enjoying this painting. It is going to be absolutely gorgeous when it's complete. Right now, the area that I'm working in is a tree. So I am working my way up this tree and the snowman is over here. Got a couple of cover minders on here holding the plastic back, and then just release papers on the rows that I'm working on. First time I'm trying that. Not sure how I feel about it just yet. I think I may go back to covering my whole painting with release papers. Of course, my next big painting is going to be a Dreamy Retreat from Craftably. And that thing is absolutely massive. I've got a lot of release papers, but I'm not 100% sure I've got enough to cover that whole thing. So I may have to do like half and half or something. So anyways, I did see that DP Crazy Lady's daughter is getting a knee scooter, since she'll be in that in a boot, but still not able to put pressure on her foot, so she still can't walk. But they did find a group that's able to help her get a knee scooter, which is awesome. You know, it's when it comes to medical supplies, they are out there, and it's just a matter of finding who is willing and able to help. There's so many great charities out there. It's always good to just keep on trying, because you just never know when you're going to ask that one person that's like, oh yeah, I've got like 5 of those sitting in my garage. Let me get you one. The knee scooters seem to be a little bit more difficult to come across than, you know, say your standard walkers or canes or, you know, bath seats and things like that. But they are, I'm sure they're out there, just a matter of finding the right person. So really happy to hear that she is able to get one, and that her recovery is going well, although she's got a little pain. You know, do keep an eye on that. Keep that pain managed, because there's no reason to be in pain when it's possible to mitigate it. I say that as I have chronic pain, you know. Anyways, yeah, I was watching a TikTok video tonight, and this, the video was of a lady who was going to a new doctor, for chronic illness, and the doctor in the skit was asking her, what, rate your pain level, and she's like, oh, the normal amount, and the doctor looks at her and is like, well, the normal amount is 0. And the patient's like, oh, well, and then they're like, well, how do you rate your dizziness? And, well, the normal amount. Well, the normal amount is 0. Some of us don't have the luxury of just not hurting. And I could do something about it. I just never have. So, anyways, I'm not sure how close you guys want zoomed in there, but there you go. So I have started having to use on some of my colors these diamonds that, and I'm not sure if I can get you in close enough to see a difference. But some of them have like a flat top, and then some of them have like a little more rounded top to them. It's because these are cut with more facets to them, whereas the square ones are have less facets, so therefore they technically should have less sparkle. And I was trying to avoid those as much as I could on this painting. But I've got a couple colors that it's coming down to. I'm going to have to use the ones I don't like. So I've got some that I feel like I might be able to get away with being particular about them, but not all of them. So the way I have my camera positioned right now, the pole that it's attached to is like right next to my face. So I'm going to hit you guys several times this evening. I do apologize in advance. So my week has consisted of a little chaos. I realized, I can't remember if it was this week or last week, but I had a little moment of panic where I was like, oh no, when I booked one of our cruise excursions through a third party, I gave them the wrong date for us to be in that particular port. And so, my husband fortunately was able to email the lady and say, hey, we kind of goofed up on this. Is there any way to fix it? And she's like, oh yeah, sure. And she changed our date and she got us all squared away. So yay for us. And then of course, yesterday, I think it was, that panic moment just kind of came back to me briefly. And I'm like, I had to keep telling myself my husband fixed it. He, he's talked to the lady. He got us all squared away. We're fine. Don't worry about it. And I wasn't able to calm myself down. So I had to end up calling him and being like, hey, can you just resend me the email? I know you already sent it to me once, but I can't find it. So can you send it to me again where it is the correct date? And seeing that, I was like, okay, we're good. Like I said he fixed it, so I knew he had, but that, that anxiety just kind of hit me for a second. So, but yeah, it's all squared away. We're good there. I emailed the lady again this evening. We decided to use her to book another excursion on a different island. And so she will get that set up for us and hopefully email me back in the next couple of days. That just leaves us one more island that we need to get something booked. And the cruise line is starting to put some things on sale for Black Friday. So I'm going to give it a few more days and see if the excursions on that one island that we still lack go down anymore. The ship that we're on is a smaller ship. It's an older ship, and so a lot of the amenities on the ship actually shut down while the ship is in port. So you can't, with the bigger ships, they're a floating city. So technically, if a person decided, oh, I don't want to go explore this particular port, they could just stay on the ship and, enjoy an empty ship. Which technically we probably could do that if we wanted to, but from what I've read, a lot of the restaurants and things don't even open up on port days. And so that would leave us kind of still having to get off the ship to go get something to eat. And so we might as well go book a tour and see something cool and have some, exciting things to talk about here in a few weeks. So, we also had gotten an email from the cruise line saying that one of the very first excursions that we had booked had been canceled. The operator of that excursion had to cancel the entire day. They said operational issues. They still haven't, told us exactly what it was. I don't know. So, but we were able to book that same type of adventure in one of the other ports. Unfortunately, we already had something booked in that port, so we ended up having to cancel the first tour that we had booked on that island, and then pick a different trip to go on the island where the other excursion was canceled by the operator. So anyways, it's been a mess. Vacation's not supposed to be stressful, folks, but this one has gotten there. We're gonna love it when we get there. Everything's gonna be perfect, and we're gonna just have a great time. But it's definitely, those little moments of anxiety that you have leading up to things, new adventures, and just going into the unknown, some of you may not because you don't travel, but yeah, I love to travel. I love to see and explore new things. But I definitely have anxiety, and I definitely prefer to have things planned out and ready to go. And so I have done a lot of research. I've been looking at lots of different things on all the islands, trying to figure out, well, if we need to take a taxi, how much is a taxi going to cost us? Can we pay for that taxi with American dollars? Do we need to get, local currency? And most of the Caribbean islands are happy to have US dollars, so we're not too worried about that. When we were in Aruba last summer, all of the tour operators, everybody that we shopped with, we gave them US currency, and they were happy to have it. I was like, well, should we get, would you prefer to have like your tips and things in your local currency? And they're like, no, because all of the stores that we shop at take US currency too. So they have their own currency, but they said almost nobody there uses it because the amount of tourism they have, it's just easier to use the US currency since that's what most of the visitors have. So It sounds like it's that way in a lot of the islands that we're going to on this cruise. This cruise for my husband and I, we're kind of trying to decide for future vacations whether we prefer to do a cruise where we get to go see several different places, or if we would prefer to go back and do another all-inclusive resort like what we did in Aruba. You know, it was so nice in Aruba because we were there for, I think it was like 5 days or something like that. 5 or 7, I can't remember exactly. It kind of all ran together after a while. But basically, you know, you go in, you know, you've got your room, you've got direct access to the beach right there, right outside of your room. The resort can help you book excursions, or you can get online and, you know, Google search, oh, you know, we want to, one of the things that we wanted to do was go parasailing. And the parasailing that was offered by the resort, I would not have been able to do a tandem parasail because of the weight limits they had on their equipment. And so my brother-in-law was like, well, I found this one and it says that they can support, you know, up to, you know, this much weight on theirs. He said, would that be enough that you could do a tandem so that my husband and I could go up together? And I was like, yes, that would work. And so that particular one, we chose not to book through the resort. We just, we walked, you know, a little ways down from the resort, and we jumped on a boat, and the guy took us to another boat, and we got hooked up, and we went parasailing, and my in-laws parasailed, and we just had a great time. It was really relaxed and enjoyable. I mean, I was not relaxed when I was, you know, a few hundred feet in the air, screaming my lungs out because, you know, scared of heights and having trust issues with equipment. And, you know, it was a terrifying adventure, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. So I think it's one of those adventures that you're not going to get to do every single day. My husband's like, well, we could parasail at the lake where my parents live. And I'm like, that's not the same. There's a big difference between parasailing over the Caribbean Sea versus a lake in the middle of Oklahoma. So, but we parasailed, and that was fun. But yeah, for the downfall to doing the cruise is that, you know, you're in a different place every single day. So you know, and you only have so many hours before the ship leaves. And so, you know, you have to pick and choose what you're going to do. You can't go, well, I really want to do this, that, and the other, but there's no way we can fit all of those, you know, all of those excursions into, you know, one day, you know, essentially into like 8 hours. It's just not feasible. And so that was the advantage of being at the resort. We could really explore the entire island and see everything that it had to offer. I think there was only one thing on Aruba that I did not get to do that I really would have liked to do. So if we ever get a chance to go back, or if we, you know, if we're on a cruise that stops there, I can say, okay, you know, I want to go to the aloe vera farm. That is Aruba's one export, is aloe vera. Everything else on that island is imported. And so their only real source of income for pretty much the entire island is their tourism. And so I did purchase some aloe while I was there, and I also got a couple other aloe containing products that I absolutely love, because I'm a klutz. I burn myself quite often, be it a sunburn or, you know, burning myself on a hot pan because I touched the wrong spot, or, you know, all that fun stuff. So, I did pick up some aloe products, and I use them probably more regularly than one should, for somebody who doesn't live on an island that grows aloe vera. And yes, my next door neighbor has aloe vera plants if I was ever in need. But I definitely enjoyed doing the all-inclusive resort, so we'll see. My husband and I, neither one have done any cruising in the last, I don't know, it's been like 10 or 11 years since I last cruised, and I think it's been almost that long for him. So we definitely want to, you know, take the time to figure out what we prefer. But I did tell my husband the other day, you know, my in-laws, when they go cruising, they tend to take a bit fancier of a cruise ship. They take, you know, one that's a higher end cruise line, and it's a bit pricier. However, what I've noticed in comparison to what we're currently working on, like, so we're on Royal Caribbean, and they usually do like Oceania or Viking. And so for us, you know, we picked what we thought was a reasonably priced cruise. And then you start adding on like the gratuities and the drink package, and the, you know, if you wanted to have an internet package, if you wanted to, you know, have this, that, and the other, all the different little add-ons, plus the cost of excursions, and of course the cost of the flight to the port, which we do have a port that's in relatively close driving distance. And if you are, you know, Mike, I don't know if you're watching, but you and I would have very different ideas of what a reasonable drive is. For me, the closest port that I could sail out of, that I could drive to, it's a good 10-12 hours at least to get to it. That particular port is very limited on where you can go. You know, if you're able to do, you know, a 10 or 12 day cruise, yeah, you can go a lot of places. But if you're trying to look for a 5 to 7 day cruise, you're really limited on where you can go. So, we chose to go to a further away port, which is why we're flying in and out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, to get to the islands that we're going to. But you know, the cost of the flight was almost as much as the cost of the base price of the cruise. So it definitely adds up. My in-laws, the cruise lines that they use, a lot of times will offer like a buy one, get one free fare. So like they'll only pay, you know, they'll only pay the fare for one person to go. The other one is included. Either that, or they'll get airfare included in their cruise, so that they don't have to pay to fly to whatever port they're going in and out of. And a lot of theirs are like European cruises. They've done some Russian cruises, Mediterranean, things like that. So they've also cruised around like Australia and Africa. And so their cruises, although they sound more expensive up front, they include more. So you're not paying, oh, you know, here's a couple grand for a cruise, and here's a couple grand for airline tickets. Here's, you know, $1,000 worth of excursions, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, we're kind of weighing options there and living and learning and trying to decide how we best prefer to vacation. At one point, he and I actually bought into what they refer to now as a vacation ownership package. It used to be called a timeshare. It's vacation ownership now. That was a huge mistake. We are out of it now. We would never, ever, ever try to do that again. But they used to brag about, well, you can go to all these different places and, you know, you've already got a room saved for you. You just tell us when you want to go, and, you know, you've got this bucket of points, so you can go as much as you want as long as you've got the points. And if you don't have points, we'll just sell you some more points and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it was a huge disaster. And one of the things that we learned is that we don't like to vacation the way that brand expects people to vacation. One of the things about some of their sales tactics, a lot of times, because my husband and I are on the younger side, a lot of people assume that we're, you know, young kids and we're out partying and drinking and beach hopping and blah, 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 blah. And that's really not us. Like, yes, we'll go to a beach. We do enjoy a beach. There's nothing wrong with it. But we don't want to go to the beach every single time. We want to have options of, you know, going. For us, our getaway for the weekend is usually a place called Branson. It's in Missouri. Look up Branson, Missouri. It's a hoot. We love it. You know, I'd also like to go to Pigeon Forge, which is in Tennessee, which is very much like Branson, but in Tennessee. And so, you know, one day when we still had our vacation ownership, I called and I was like, hey, you know, we wanted to go to Pigeon Forge this, you know, these dates, but all of the rooms are booked across, I don't know, it was like they had like 5 or 6 resorts there that we should have been able to stay in. And they're like, yeah, they're all booked up. They're like, you know, where else would you like to go? And I'm like, well, I want something similar to that, but we go to Branson all the time. So what other places can you put us that would be similar to that kind of entertainment? And this guy's like, well, what do you like seeing there? And we're like, you know, we like the live music and the shopping, and, you know, explain to him the different things that we like to do there. And he's like, oh, well, Austin, Texas has live music. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the same at all. And so trying to explain to this guy on the phone that, like, there's a huge difference between Austin, Texas and Branson, Missouri was an entertaining phone call. And yes, since I'm placing those one at a time, I am just plucking them out with tweezers. Anyway, so we ended up not going on a trip that particular weekend, and I still haven't made it to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So we'll just have to wait and do that another time. Just using my straightener here to kind of line everything up. I'm sorry if I'm jiggling you guys a lot. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at as far as our upcoming vacation and that adventure. I don't know how much I'll be able to share, like, in the moment, because again, I haven't purchased a internet package yet, and I don't know that I will. But for sure, once I get back, I'll get you guys some updates and let you guys know how everything went. So anyways, that's all I've got for tonight. Thanks for visiting with me. I know this part is not gorgeous. It's not like super pretty and lots of color, but it's a necessary part of the picture. And I am now, I think once I complete this row, I'll be at about the halfway mark on this picture. So we'll do another overview once I get this row completed. Anyways, you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.